I've been a fan of fighting games for a long time, and one of my favorites growing up was Soul Calibur 2. Being able to just pick it up, mash some buttons, and have a great time was really appealing, and I've been a fan of the series ever since. So when a new Soul Calibur game was announced after being dormant for 5 or so years, I got very, very excited. And with Soul Calibur 6 being a soft reboot, this gives Namco Bandai a chance to bring the series back to its roots and show that the series' soul still burns bright. From the get-go, it's obvious that Namco Bandai wants to recapture the glory days of the series, and you can see that in its core gameplay and character roster. Series veterans such as Mitsurugi, Sophidia, Siegfried, Nightmare, Ivy, Talum, Taki, and Cervantes make up the bulk of the roster. If your favorite characters from those early games, chances are they are in this game too. New to the series is the Maximum Anime Edgelord character Gro and the zany oddball boss character Oswell, both of which offer unique movesets and are welcome additions to the cast. Guest characters like The Witcher's Geralt of Rivia and the recently released 2B from Nier Automata round out the core roster. Both are great additions and feel authentic to their game series of origins. Furthermore, both Geralt and 2B are fairly easy to pick up and play too, so fans of their games can rest easy that you can play them without having to learn anything super complex or difficult. The core gameplay is Soul Calibur through and through. It has the speed and ferocity that made the early games so great, while also incorporating some of the meter management mechanics from Soul Calibur 5 that add on an extra layer of strategy. Critical edges, aka super moves, make a return, and this time around they are much flashier and bring a lot more hype. Soul Charge is a new mechanic that essentially acts as a power mode. For the cost of 1 full bar of meter, for a limited time you become more powerful and are given access to new moves and thus new combos. Both the Critical Edge and Soul Charge are great additions and add a nice layer of strategy to the core gameplay. Reversal Edge is the big new mechanic in Soul Calibur 6, and it's a defensive move that'll parry most incoming attacks before counterattacking. If it hits, both you and your opponent enter a cinematic rock, paper, scissors game where you both press a button and the game determines the winner based on who presses what. And while this mechanic can add some cinematic tension, given that you always have access to it, you can see it a lot during the course of a match, and it can really start slowing things down a bit too much, and ultimately it just kinda gets in the way of the fighting. Overall though, the core gameplay is just plain fun, whether you are just button mashing or take the time to learn combos and strategies. Soul Calibur 6 is just a blast to play at any skill level. As far as single-player content is concerned, Soul Calibur 6 actually offers quite a bit, the main two modes being the Libra of Soul and the Soul Chronicle modes, but unfortunately, neither are particularly compelling. The Soul Chronicle mode acts as the game's main story, and brings the series back to its origins, and, well, a new timeline. The main story path itself follows Killick, Maxi, and Shanghua and their quest to defeat the evil sword Soul Edge, while the other character paths take you through each character's individual story. Unfortunately, the Soul Chronicle mode is hampered by boring presentation. It's got static images, some dialogue, and only a handful of cutscenes during the main story, and that's really it. The Libra of Soul mode is the other main single-player mode, and narratively it focuses more on the newcomer characters Gro and Aswell. Essentially though, it's a mission mode where you get to create a character, go around a world map, gain EXP, get new weapons, and fight other Soul Calibur and NPC characters under varying conditions. On top of that, there's also some dialogue and moral choice options, though it's pretty basic. And while it's certainly the more interesting mode, and you can actually put some decent time into it, it is still hampered by the same boring presentation problems, and at a certain point the whole mode starts to become a slog to get through. However, in spite of all that, the character creation mode is back and is still extremely robust. This time around there are actual race options beyond just making normal humans, so that's pretty cool. You got animal people, lizard men, spooky skeletons, and these weird statue people, among several others. They don't, however, have the same amount of customization options as normal humans, so that's a bit of a bummer. For the first time in the series is the ability to create a character based on the moveset of guest characters, meaning you can make a custom character based off of Geralt or 2B, and it's just a nice option to finally have. On top of that, you are also able to share and download other players' characters. While that is a great addition, I do wish that there was a proper search function to help sort through created characters. The character creation is absolutely my favorite single-player content in the game, and if I'm being completely honest, I've probably put more time into creating custom characters than actually playing the game itself. It's just that much fun playing around with these character customization tools. Rounding out the offline modes is the standard arcade mode, which has no character endings by the way, versus mode, and training mode. Like in past Soul Calibur games, 6's training mode does a good job of breaking down each character's move list into manageable categories, like having a main move category which gives you an idea on which moves are important to learn. There's also tutorials that break down mechanics, characters, and can give you insight on character strategy. All in all, the training options in Soul Calibur 6 are on par with most modern fighting games. Online options are fairly standard. You have ranked 1v1 matches and casual lobbies. It would have been nice to have something fun like a tournament mode, but maybe that's something that could be added down the line. As far as connections were concerned, most of the matches I played felt pretty good, and while there were certainly matches where I experienced some lag, it rarely felt like I lost a match exclusively because of the poor connection. Although this is obviously going to differ based on you and your opponent's connection and the distance between the two. If online multiplayer is important to you, Soul Calibur 6 does get the job done. From a presentation standpoint, Soul Calibur 6 looks pretty sharp. The main cast of characters look great, and are sporting designs heavily inspired by their Soul Calibur 1 or 2 days, which is a very nice touch. Custom characters don't get to look quite as good, but that's to be expected. There's also a nice variety of stages, and the game's lighting effects really help in bringing each stage to life. It's especially cool seeing Geralt's and 2B stages being brought from their stages and working so well within this one. If you're looking at Soul Calibur 6 from a purely single-player experience, unless you're really into character creation, this may not be the game for you. However, if you are a fan of the previous games in the series, or if you just like fighting games in general, then Soul Calibur 6 is absolutely worth checking out. And that about does it here for Ceej Gaming. If you enjoyed what you saw, please be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe for future videos. And if you want to keep up to date with this channel on social media, you can do so by following @Ceej Gaming on Twitter. Once again, this has been Ceej Gaming, and I'll see you guys next time.